Hey, Dave and Sonal. I'm really bummed that I couldn't be in San Diego to deliver a proper toast for you guys, but I hope you have a great time on your second wedding, right? You couldn't make it to either one, and I'm sorry for that. But there are two good things that come from me not being able to make it. The first is that for anybody sitting at a high table number, there were a limited amount of people that were allowed at this wedding. So if I came, you might have been uninvited. So you're welcome for that. And you should probably spend the night trying to figure out who was the person that would have got cut if I had come. The second good part is that I can't be cut off by a wedding planner or hotel event coordinator for running too long. So I can talk for a bit, and I plan to ramble for quite a while. I have a lot to say, obviously, and even though I'm not there, you still deserve a proper Mazzone toast, or improper, depending on what side you're on. But just stick with me for a bit, and I promise we'll have a little bit of fun along the way. The one thing I'll say is that I'm going to get started by sharing a story about myself. There's a couple stories that I want to share. The first one's about me, and because anytime you get a chance to talk about yourself on somebody else's wedding day, I feel like you should completely take that opportunity and make it about you as much as you can. So, long before I met Dave, or even knew what Dave was, I had met this girl, and I had asked her out to go to a concert with me and some friends, and she said yes because, I mean, of course, right? Am I right? So she said yes, and I was super excited, super stoked. Some people were like, "Oh, she's out of your league," but I mean, those people who know me are like, "That's not possible, right?" And then 2 days later, after she had said yes, she messages me and she's like, "Can I bring a friend?" And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a bummer, but yeah, we have an extra ticket. I could set this friend up with any number of my guys' friends, no big deal." The night of the concert comes, and we agree to meet at a buddy's house who lived close to the venue. And we drove separate, so I get there early, and I'm pacing back and forth, and I'm starting to sweat because she's late, because she's a girl. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm getting stood up. And that would have been better than what actually happened next. She finally pulls up, and I get a little bit of a sigh of relief. I'm like, oh, good, she made it. She's not standing me up. She's just running a little late. And then out of the passenger side of the car gets out like this goofy, lanky looking dude. I can't even describe him. Like, if the wind blew too strong, we would have to chase him down the street. Like, he was this real lanky, tall dude. His hair would have been fine because he had so much gel in it that it wasn't moving. And I'm really panicking because I'm going to be the laughing stock of my friends because my date just brought a date to our date. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm sweating and I'm trying to play it all cool. And she comes in and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" And she's like, "Hi, this is my brother Dave." It was just Dave, guys. And that was my introduction to Dave. And just Dave became a little bit of a thing. But we actually really hit it off that night. Dave and I, that is. We talked about revenue sharing in baseball and why it doesn't work. Why he's not allowed to have two favorite teams. You can't have the Cubs and the Phillies as both your favorite team, no matter how you justify it. It's just not a thing, Dave. And we talked throughout the night and really connected. And ultimately, we kept hanging out and we had a really good time. And I had to make a choice between him and his sister. And clearly I chose Heather because, well, she's better looking and she's a much better soccer player. So it wasn't that difficult of a choice, but we did really get along that first night, and we started to kind of grow into a really, really nice friendship. He's really always looked after Heather and the rest of his family, and he's a really good person, and we really got along really well. But I'm from New Jersey, and I'm really, really cynical of people. I don't really trust anyone. I think most people are terrible. They're full of crap and all that stuff. So I'm always trying to find the worst in people, and Dave was no different. I'm like, this guy's a fraud, right? I'm going to find out what's wrong with him. And I bet Sonal's family is kind of nodding along. Her brothers are probably nodding along, and they're like, yeah, we feel the same way. This guy, too good to be true. He's donating to charities. He goes to church every Sunday. He's got a good job. He plays sports, and he never got to yellow card in soccer or red card. And if you have a kid and he's known you for 10 minutes, your kid gets birthday presents for life. Like, he does all of these things, and he's really, really selfless. And you're like, he's not real. I'm going to find out what's wrong with him and what his real secrets are. I'm telling you not to waste your time. I've done it for the better part of 10 years. There are certain things I can do to get them a little bit riled up. But ultimately, what ends up happening as you start to dig in deeper and deeper to Dave and try and find that hidden thing that really bothers you, that really just blows up this whole facade of this really great guy, good person, what ends up happening is you start to become a better person because you feel inadequate. You're like, this person is real. I must be some jerk. And nobody wants to become a better person, right? I mean, that's a lot of work. So don't waste your time. Sonal's family, don't waste your time. It's just Dave. He's just a good guy. It's who he is. I know it's weird. I know there aren't a lot of them out there like him. He's a good egg. It's an annoyingly good egg, right? Gets you on your nerves sometimes and you're just like, oh my God, can you be a jerk just once in your life? Can you get upset about something? But he really is a genuine good person. He takes care of his family, his friends. He always puts them first. And I think that Sonal, you've really seen that in him, obviously. And he will continue to take care of you and be a great husband, be a great father one day. I know he wants that. And I just think that all this time that I've spent with Dave, and like I said, I've known him for, I don't know, it's got to be over 10 years or around 10 years or so. Maybe, yeah, right around 10 or 11 years or so. And I just don't have a bad thing to say about him. And I would love to. I love saying bad things about people. It's fun. I love to pick people apart and just have a little fun and nudge them a little bit. And I know a few things that get at Dave, but they're few and far between. But if you ever need something, Sonal, you can come to me and I can give you a little something that'll get them worked up a little bit. And my second story that I want to go on to is actually about Sonal, which is kind of odd because we don't hang out very often. We're at opposite ends of the country. She's come East Coast a few times, but she doesn't even have a contact in my phone yet. I've left her phone number there, and it's kind of a running joke now that, well, I don't really know you that well, Sonal, and I can't really put you in my phone yet until things are official. Maybe today is the day. We'll see. So Sonal flew all the way across country with Dave to go to his nephew Connor's birthday and to just kind of meet the family and meet everyone. That's how you knew when things were really starting to get serious, right? He wanted her to come across country and meet his family. And she agreed to do that, and somehow she's still here. So Connor's birthday was actually at an indoor water park. I think it was Kalahari or maybe Great Wolf in Pennsylvania, one of those. So we all met there as a group, and Sonal and Dave had gotten the night before, and they were probably jet lagged already, and just meeting people's family and friends for the first time, and you're jet lagged and you're at an indoor water park, probably a pretty uncomfortable, stressful situation, but she managed really well. We all go into the water park together, and these things are chaos. If you've ever been to these things, it's just absolute chaos. Kids running around, unsupervised, all over the place. Parents swimming up to the bar to get a drink and just deal with it. No real lifeguards, just children with a whistle. And we all agree to go on the lazy river first. We say, you know what, let's do one thing before we all scatter. So we all go on the lazy river, and if you've ever been on one of these lazy river rides, there's two ways to get a tube. You wait in the big herd with everyone else, and you wait your turn and you get your tube and you go around. Or you stand maybe 5 or 6 feet to the left of the herd and you kind of cut the line and you say, hey, if a tube slips by, it's my lucky day. I'm going to get on one and I'm going to go. But we're a big group of people, so we can't all go to the side. So we wait our turn in line, and I'm the tube hander-outer. I finally get to the front of the line, and I'm like a hockey goalie pitching a shutout here. No tube is getting by me. And we got a group of like 10 people. So it's taken a little while for me to get everyone their tube. But we're getting there and we're making progress. And all of a sudden I hear some mumbling coming from that 6 feet away area. And some lady's getting upset that she doesn't have a tube yet. And she's starting to mumble in under her breath, saying some stuff. And this is not my first rodeo. So I just ignore it. I just keep going. And she's clearly visibly upset. She's this mom holding a toddler, and she just wants to get on the lazy river ride and start her day. And nobody's happy at these places. It's impossible to be happy at these places. It's just utter chaos. So finally, I'm rounding up the last of the tubes. It's like maybe 2 or 3 left, and all of a sudden I hear someone say, "Excuse me, is there a problem?" And it's Sonal turning to this mom holding her toddler, ready to throw down, because she's saying stuff under her breath to me, who's just trying to get people onto the lazy river together. And I'm like, this girl means business. And if you guys know Dave, he's non-confrontational at all. So he was 3/4 of the way around the lazy river ride while this is happening. He saw this and he's like, I'm out of here. I want no part of this. And nothing happened. Someone just was letting her know, like, what's your problem? Like, we're all here just trying to have a good time. Nobody's doing anything wrong. We're waiting online, getting our tubes. And I know what you're saying. Why are you sharing this story about Sonal? She sounds horrible. She's about to beat up this woman who's holding her toddler at an indoor water park. But the truth is like she didn't have to say anything. It was fine. Everybody was fine. But what she did, she stood up for me, and she didn't know me for about 10 minutes. All she knew is that I used to make fun of her a lot in text messages with Dave, even though I hadn't met her yet. So I think it kind of showed her character, that she's kind of a no-nonsense person that will also stick up for the people that she cares about. And she didn't need to know me. She knew that I was important to Dave, and that was all that she needed to kind of take that action and to know that she wasn't going to put up with kind of some of that nonsense and behavior that was really unnecessary. But so we ended up getting on our tubes going around, but I just really, right off the bat, it just kind of said, I like her. She's got some moxie, and she's a good compliment to Dave, because like I said, Dave is a coward, right? He just runs away from stuff. He's like, I don't want to deal with it. I've got to speed out of here as fast as I can. So when things get difficult, and things will get difficult in a marriage over the course of the next 40, 50, 60, God willing, however many years, you will need somebody that can do that, that can say, you know what, let's put my foot down, let's figure out what needs to be done. I'm not going to get pushed around, I'm not going to get bullied. We need to figure this out and handle it. And I think that's a good personality compliment to Dave, who is the nicest of the nicest, but can use a little bit of that edge sometime from Sonal that brings it, kind of is a good compliment to each other. And that story is still one of my favorite. I don't think very many people know it, because it was me, Sonal, and a couple others in line, and we may have talked about it a little bit afterwards, but it never got really further than that. I'm really excited that you two found each other, and Sonal, I'm really excited that you actually said yes to Dave, even in spite of him proposing to you on the Jersey Shore in his khakis and Chicago Cubs shower sandals. It was an incredible clothing choice for Dave, and a one-of-a-kind ensemble for his engagement photos. I wish you would have relived them and shared them more on social media so people could see those beautiful shower sandals that you wore on the beach that I would have worn in a college dorm to make sure I didn't get any diseases when I used the shared showers. The fact that you were able to see through that and still say yes is a crowning achievement in itself. I think you guys have a really, really bright future together. I'm glad to be a part of it in some way. I wish you the best of luck, and I wish I could be there, and maybe I'll make it for your third or fourth wedding celebration whenever you guys have those after COVID. So congratulations, and we'll see you soon.